Hey guys, I am back with another travel talk video, and I'm going to be talking about excursions. And I'm going to talk about my experiences with them, what I think, and what some other people have told me their ideas about them as well. So I'm going to do the pros and cons, and you can hopefully take some of this information away and make your own decision about them if and when you take a cruise or even land trips. So let's go ahead and get started. So you guys know without me saying I'm going on a cruise next year in 2018, and this will be my 8th cruise if I've calculated correctly. And I absolutely love cruising. But in addition to just being on the ship, the ships make several stops in different ports. And excursions are things that you can sign up to do and pay for, so you can see sights in these ports that the ship stops in. So I love doing excursions. Now you have a couple of choices. Actually, I would say 4 choices overall. Number 1, you can do absolutely nothing and don't sign up for it, don't get off the ship. I have actually met people who do that. I met one lady, she took one cruise every single month, and she's like, I never get off the ship. She said, I did it one time. I was in St. Petersburg, Russia. I hated it, and I'm like, I never wanted to take another excursion. And she didn't. She absolutely loves the ship. So that's one thing you can do, is just stay on the ship and just enjoy all of the amenities that the ship has to offer, and they are wonderful. But I'm somebody who, in addition to enjoys the ship and all it has to offer, I do love getting off the ship. I kind of use it as a means of transportation to get me from one port to the next, so I can see as many places as I possibly can. And so I, for one, sign up for the excursions. Now, your next choice before I get into the excursions is just to walk off the ship and go exploring on your own and just not doing excursions. I have done that before, and in some cases I absolutely liked it, and in others I didn't like it at all, because where the ship ported in and the main port, there just wasn't a lot to see. It's kind of like jewelry shops and t-shirt shops and a few restaurants. And if you're not, once you look at those, it's kind of like, I want to see something else, but I didn't sign up to do it. So it was just kind of just very disappointing for me to do that. But anyway, that is another option. Option number 3 is to walk off the ship. There's going to be lots of people probably standing around the ship, especially, or standing around the port, especially if you're in the Caribbean, who are offering different excursions. Or you can pre-book them online yourself, knowing when you're going to be there. So you're more than welcome to do that. I feel that you could probably be very safe doing that, because these trips and excursions are these people's livelihood. Most places in the Caribbean, tourism is their #1 industry. So they're going to be right there as you get off the ship, and going to go take you on a fabulous excursion. It may or may not be the exact same price as the cruise ship's excursions, or it could be cheaper. I don't think it's going to be more expensive at all. Now, a lot of the cruise ships tell you that if you can find the same excursion for cheaper, they will refund you back, even like up to 110%. So there's that option of booking them yourself. The 4th option, which is the one I tend to always do, and that is purchase the excursion through the ship. And the main reason I do so is for the safety factor, and the fact that they will guarantee you that they will get you back to the ship. And a lot of the other places, the ship's going to tell you they're not going to guarantee you. The other places are probably going to say, we absolutely will guarantee you. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the ship wasn't hiring out some of the same people that you may book on your own. But I like the comfort and knowledge that they guarantee that if something goes wrong, I will get back to the ship, and the ship isn't going to leave without me. So if you book an excursion on your own, The ship has no idea where you have gone. If you stay with the Excursions, they do know. And they know how many passengers that are out on these excursions, and they are in communication with the ship, these tour people. And so I like to do that because I feel safer doing that. So that is typically what I will do. Now, I have just in some places in the Caribbean just gotten off the ship, looked around, came back on, and then met my excursion. So there's different ways to do it, different times that the excursions get booked. Let's move to European cruising. Now, I have only done it once, and on that particular cruise, sometimes the ship cannot port into the specific port where you are wanting to see. Whereas in the Caribbean, it always pretty much, I've been on 5 Caribbean cruises and a Canadian and a Hawaiian. Every single one of those cruises have pulled into the port that you were going to see, and you just can get off the ship and walk around. Now, there are some instances in the Caribbean, and I think Hawaii as well, where the ship, either there's not space for the ship to dock in port, or especially, I'm thinking about Belize, the ships can't get to the port that close because I think it's the depth of the water, so they will tender you in, but it's just a very short, like 10 to 15 minute tender ride. And if you're not familiar, a tender is just another small boat that you get on. One ship I was on, they just use the lifeboats as their tenders. And so it's pretty easy to get to the port from your ship if you are in Canada, New England, Caribbean, Hawaii. But in Europe, it's a little bit different. So when I took my first European cruise, it left from Barcelona. It went to Rome, Florence, Naples, and Majorca. And the ports that you could actually get off the ship and walk around and see what you wanted to see, those ports were Barcelona, Naples, and Majorca. And Rome and Florence, the ship cannot go to Rome or Florence. It's just not possible. So they will pull into the port that will allow cruise ships to come in. And it's about, I want to say, an hour to an hour and a half from Rome and Florence. And so you can't just get off the ship and get yourself easily to Rome or Florence. Now, this next one I'm going to go on is making other stops, so I don't know about the other places that it's stopping, what's going to be possible at this point. So that's another reason I have booked excursions through the cruise line, is so that I will get transportation into Rome and Florence, and that is covered. You can get there on your own if you choose to do so, but transportation, if you're going to hire a taxi that's an hour and a half away, that's expensive. You can take a train, but a lot of times there are strikes, train strikes in Europe, and the train may not run. So there are just different situations where I personally don't feel comfortable trying to take a train or a taxi into Rome and Florence, so I feel comfortable with a cruise excursion. Plus, they offer a plethora of different excursions. So I just recommend doing that. Look through if you're thinking about booking a cruise, you can still go on the cruise site, look at excursions for the different ports and see what interests you. That's what I do, and I kind of debate about them. In some instances, especially in the Caribbean, you potentially can do 2 excursions in one day and maybe even 3 depending on the schedule. So there's that option. Also, I've noticed that Rome, Florence, and Capri, because that's what I'm interested in going, they have on your own. So what they do is just provide you transportation, provide you maps, and then they transport you to and back to your places, and that way you are able to basically get transportation. They're cheaper to do that, and then you just walk around the cities on your own. I do recommend those. So if you're taking a land trip, you can also book excursions that way, and a lot of them, they're insured, they're guaranteed. Just get on like travel TripAdvisor, that's what I was trying to think of, and look at ratings and see who to book in that way. So I hope this video has helped you decide if you want to do things on your own or if you want to book through the cruise. There's so many different things to look at. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Bye bye, guys.